Hello internet people. Is your sound system shit? Are your levels worse than a diabetic in a sweet factory? Did you Google what an equalizer is? Because that's kind of scary. Don't worry, I'm here to save you. Today we're going to be reviewing the internet's cheapest equalizer. Now this is of course a Temu special. This is a car equalizer MTX508 until you turn it round, and then it's an MTX708. So I ordered the 7-band equalizer. I'm hoping. Let's see what's in the box. Car equalizer MTX508. A 5-band dual control parametric equalizer with subwoofer putt-putt. Putt-putt. Not output. This is promising. And as I said a minute ago, when we turn it over, we have the MTX708, which is a 7-band with putt-putt. So on both of them, they completely misspelt it, and this is actually wrapped up mini golf. It's made in China and black. Distortion 0.03%. We'll be testing that on the oscilloscope. Signal to noise is 90 dB, 10 ohm impedance. This device complies with part 15 of the FCC rules, which I'm assuming probably means it doesn't immediately catch fire. Delightful. Build quality, surprisingly, it's metal. It's actually metal. And I quite enjoy the Molex style connector they've got on there. They're probably the cheapest style of connector to put on this sort of thing. But it's functional. It works. I actually kind of like it. We've got optional inputs for CD and auxiliary. There. No crossovers, but, you know, why'd you need them? Because you've got them on your head unit and on your amp. So to have them on here is kind of redundant, really. For obvious reasons, it's got holes in the side that if you line up, apparently you can see the whole way through. Maybe that's for target practice once you've realised that it's probably a complete piece of shit. Let's open this thing up and see what's really going on inside it before we put it on the oscilloscope and see how much clip it puts out. There is an immediate, very strong smell of hot electrics. This is a very standard, very cheap, very flexible PCB, as you'd find in your average kind of shit car amp, to be honest with you. These are op amps, as you would classically find in the preamp section of your car amp. I mean, it's nothing too surprising. We've got a bunch of LEDs in here, so I'm assuming that when we power it on, it's going to light up some kind of beautiful colour. Let's find out. Now, before we turn this gorgeous piece of Chinese EM on, I'm going to have to ask you to drop a like and click the subscribe button if you would be so kind, because I'm edging epically closer to that 10,000 subscriber milestone, and I cannot be more grateful to all of you for supporting me along this journey. Now, what that does mean is that we're going to do it again. We're going to do the same sort of style giveaway we did before, where at 10,000 subscribers, I do a giveaway to anybody who comments that they're up for a challenge that I will set in the next video. And then we will draw out of a hat one of the winners. Now, again, same sort of thing. You buy whatever you can buy off Temu, AliExpress, Shein, whatever it is. You make a video of yourself having some fun with it, do a little review with it. It then goes on my channel. V-Double won the last one. Dale, the guy's name is. He's halfway through the build, and I'll be featuring that very shortly. So, if you want to win something, if you want to be entered, please subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss when I drop the video about the competition, and keep watching. Thank you very much. Let's turn this mother on. It smelt really hot. Does it work? In 3, 2, 1. Hey! So before we go any further, I'm going to show you how an equalizer works. Essentially, you've got all of these bands of frequency: 63, 125, 315, 750, 2.2 kilohertz, 6 kilohertz, and 12 kilohertz. And essentially what happens is the signal goes in from your head unit or whatever you've got. It goes, splits into lots of different bits, each controlled by one of these. Essentially what then happens is that they go to a potentiometer, a knob, which is the funny way of saying potentiometer, and you can control how loud that part of the frequency is. So if there's a bit in your car that you sort of think, well, hang on a minute, it's a bit lacking at the top end, or it's a bit harsh at the top end, you go, you turn it back a little bit. Although you probably don't turn it back a little bit whilst going, and I don't know why I did that. Should we test it? So before we go into testing the equalizer on the transmission lines and seeing how well that works, I'm going to show you how it actually works on the oscilloscope so you can see in real time what's actually happening to the sound wave. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press play on this 63 Hertz tone, because our first bandwidth is 63 Hertz, and it's going to pop up on there as a very, very tiny wave. Now this is with 63 Hertz on the minimum, so I'm now going to turn just 63 Hertz up, so it's between 63 and 125 Hertz, and all of a sudden, that 63 Hertz tone, that bandwidth, although it's moving around because it's currently being weighed down by a mini screwdriver set, but that bandwidth is now massively amplified compared to the rest of the bandwidth. Now, most critically, for the people wanting to listen to vocals through your speakers, 6,000 Hertz is the real upper end of human speech. That's like your Mariah Carey level stuff. So I'm going to play a 6,000 Hertz tone, because if you ever listen to some music and you've gone, gore, that hurts. Obviously 6,000 Hertz, much shorter wavelength, much more erratic. So we'll zoom right in on 6,000 Hertz. There we go, that's what 6,000 Hertz looks like. 6 kilohertz, let's see if we can't give it a nice little boost. And there you go. That is your 6,000 Hertz. That's the upper range of your vocals. Now for your reference, and I really hope no one's got a dog nearby, this is 6,000 Hertz. It's fucking horrible. So what I've done is I've replicated as closely as possible to how you would kind of pretty much have it in a car. So this is going to be my head unit, goes into the equaliser, and then goes out to a 4-channel amp with a front and a rear channel. Obviously different to a car, I have transmission lines. So I'm now going to play a variety of different types of music through these transmission lines. Obviously I am a little bit limited on what I can play because of demonetization, copyright, all that sort of stuff. But we should be able to get a good idea on whether or not it's actually worth spending a bit of money, A, on an EQ generally, or B, if you can save money and just spend 20 quid on one. I've also set all of the dials to be halfway, so we have the equivalent of a flat response, so I can turn up or down on all of them. This is flat response. Turning up the real high end. Turning the high end down. And we'll turn the bass up. That's actually quite surprising. So first impressions, for stuff like this, it's actually quite good because you can just turn the lower end up, which would normally be missing. Like when I had this on flat, you couldn't hear the lower notes that well, and I've just been able to boost that without destroying the rest of the sound. This one needs a bit more top. And then bass down. Now, for example, this one, super bassy. God damn it. If people could subscribe and watch my other videos so I can get more money for a higher power supply, that'd be great, because 5 amps is not enough. Thank you. Now this thing has a couple of drawbacks, like for example, you can't control each channel, each speaker individually. It's not a DSP, it is purely an equaliser. Now your head unit does have an equalisation function on it, most of them will have. But whether or not they can go up or down 2.5 volts per frequency range, I'd be very surprised if they can. And as you've seen when I tested this on the oscilloscope, it doesn't clip. At no point did any of those waves clip, and I was full out on those. So It's kind of basically a line driver, but for a specific frequency range. Now, unfortunately, I've not been able to test it on the sub to see how good it is at sub stuff, basically. But I mean, it's got sub volume and sub frequency, and looking at the rest of it, I've got no reason to believe that it wouldn't work. In a nutshell, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, the thing is perfectly fine. It functions exactly as you would imagine it would function. It works perfectly, it integrates very nicely into any system. And it's super handy to have something like this just in the dashboard when you're driving along. If you listen to several different types of music like I do, and you don't want to have to dick around with like all the presets and stuff, you just go, oh, I'll turn that up a little bit. Anyway, the link for this EQ is in the description. If you want to watch the build video for these transmission lines, that link will be in the description. It's also, you just search it here. That's what you search. That's what it looks like. Once again, thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. The growth has been unbelievable, and I love every one of you. Thank you so much for giving me the time. Don't forget to subscribe and put the bell on, because I will be doing another giveaway. Obviously, the size of the giveaway depends on the revenue that I get from the video. So go watch other videos. I'm quite funny at times, although this comment, he doesn't like me very much, but fuck you. I've been Adam. You've been amazing. And as always, be good to each other. I'll see you next time.